Passion is it, it's just everybody's like, well, I'm not talented, I don't do this. But it's like, well, if you had the passion to not give up, I don't think you could practice piano for 20 years and not be good.
Right.
I don't believe that. I'm sure there's some people that it comes more easily,
Sure.
but if you have the passion.
Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stevenson, the Odd Man. He'll unpack wisdom and insights from a cross-section of top quality performers in business, media, sports, entertainment, and lifestyle to uncover key elements to help you live your best audacious life ever. So without further ado, here is the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations, folks. It's Audley Stevenson back for another edition of the most audacious podcast the internet has to offer. You've got it locked to the Audacious Living Podcast, and I appreciate you for being here as we continue our ongoing goal of helping our listeners live their best audacious lives ever. As always, I encourage you to connect with us. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook under the handle The Audacious Pod. Or if you're watching this episode on our YouTube channel, then all you got to do is tap that bell down below, ding, 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 and you're immediately connected to all good things audacious related. Now, earlier this year, my childhood friend Andrew and his girlfriend Jackie got married, and they had a beautiful destination wedding in St. Martin. It was an absolutely wonderful time, family and friends. We all made the trip down to celebrate them, and like I said, we had an absolute blast. And while I was down there, I had the opportunity to check out a performance by Mike Price, aka the Rockstar Juggler. I even had a chance to be a part of his show. He was totally wild. He's a phenomenal performer, and the one thing that stood out for me is clear love for what he was doing. His passion was so strong, and watching him work his craft, I just knew I had to get him on the podcast, and I am super pumped that he agreed to join. This former America's Got Talent competitor definitely wasn't a disappointment at all. I'm certain that you'll absolutely love the conversation that you're about to hear. He talked about how he got started, what kept him going, his love for juggling. You're going to hear all that in a few. So I've got the table all set for you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation with Mike Price, aka the Rockstar Juggler, right here on the Audacious Living Podcast. Mike, what's happening? I got you here with me on the Audacious Living Podcast. Thank you for being here, my friend.
Great to be here. Good to see you again too.
Yes, good seeing you. And I for our listeners and viewers, I think it's only fair that we let them know that we met several months back. I was in St. Martin for a vacation, and you were up on stage doing your thing as a rock star juggler, and and the rest is history. What can I say?
Right? It was beautiful. You did a great job too. I got you on stage. Amazing. Amazing.
You weren't too bad yourself, I must say.
Thank you. Thank you very
much. So, Mike, you are the rock star juggler, and first and foremost, and we've talked about this before, and I've said this to you, how much I appreciate your passion, your energy, your love for juggling. And I don't think for a lot of people that get excited about juggling, but when they see you in action, absolutely, how can you not? I gotta say, tell me. I mean, I know you've been juggling virtually your whole life. Tell me what was the starting point for you?
My grandpa took me to a YMCA when I was about 9 years old and signed me up they had just juggling lessons there.
Yeah.
So my sister, he took to the water, so she was like a swimmer, and yep. I would just kind of mill around, be bored. I hated swimming. I was always cold when I was a kid. So I kind of walked into this juggling class at a racquetball court. And the guy showed me how to juggle. I learned in probably like half hour. And then when my grandpa came to pick me back up, the guy's like, hey, you got to get this kid some juggling clubs. He's learned how to juggle, And then it always seemed very musical to me. Like I could always like while the music was on in the background, I
Right.
always kind of synced it to that, and it just felt like I was always playing music. So I'd always put in my headphones or put in a speaker and just practice for hours on end. And I really give all the credit really to my grandpa. He went with me every single day to practice, and most people don't realize this. When a juggler juggles or is practicing, out of an hour, I probably a normal person probably practices 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay.
The rest of the time is picking the stuff off the ground. And you drop because you can't do the trick. So you're picking up, you're setting your body, you're getting straight, you're breathing, you're taking that deep breath.
Yep.
Here we go again. Explosion.
Yeah.
Pick up the stuff from the ground. But my grandpa bought me like 100 balls, 100 clubs, would go on his knees.
Yep.
The second I would drop, boom, he would have the stuff in my hands.
Right.
So out of an hour, I would probably practice 50 minutes out of an hour.
Wow.
We would do about 2 hours a day. So, I mean, compared to the other jugglers that were doing even 10 minutes a day.
That's
I was doing an hour and a half a day for 20 years,
I would never even have thought about that when you talk about the time spent picking stuff up and resetting. But it makes total sense because you're gonna drop them. We all know that. It's gonna
over
happen.
and over. And then like if you're practicing the stuff you can't do, all you're doing is dropping. So it's funny if when I used to practice in the YMCA, if somebody would come and watch me, they would think I just completely sucked. Because I would never be juggling.
Yes,
I was dropping. But
and it is juggling. So 9 years old, your grandpa said, "Hey, Mike, let's check this out." You go in there. Is it like you fell in love immediately with it kind of thing, or is it?
Yep.
Really?
Yep. And actually, within a week, it's really weird. So I'm from Wisconsin, and we never vacationed really out of the state. Never went anywhere. Maybe Chicago or something, but. At 10 years old, I told my grandpa, I'm like, I'm going to be a juggler on a cruise ship. And he's like, why a cruise ship? And I'm like, I don't know. And I never even knew why. I think I used to watch The Love Boat with my grandma.
I love
I'm
it.
like, I want to go on there.
Isaac.
Exactly. Yep. So I'd watch that, never was on a cruise, never was on anything. And then literally when I was 18 years old, my grandpa booked my first cruise.
Really?
And
so circle, man.
Oh yeah. And then 18 years old, it was me and him went on the cruise together. He was my manager. And it was just like me and my grandpa touring the world.
Oh,
epic.
And the reason why that's such a special memory, because he was there from the very, very beginning.
Beginning.
And it's funny, like, when you throw something out and in the universe, hey, I'm gonna do this, and some people go, nah, you won't, and others be like supporting you. He supported you and saw it all the way through.
Big time. And actually he just passed away. He was 95.
Oh, like
95. Epic. Like I really can't even be sad. He had such an amazing life and my God. And then I was there with him when he passed away. And I've never seen anybody more at ease and ready. And like, he was such a good human being. You ever read when you're a kid, The Giving Tree?
Okay. Yeah.
That was my grandpa. He just gave and gave and gave and literally devoted his whole life to me.
Wow.
And the only reason why I'm where I'm at is because this man literally spent every waking moment with me. Beautiful. And like made me.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful. It's almost like your life and what you do is a tribute to him because
big time.
Of everything. Oh man, that's a beautiful.
No, it's funny. Everybody's like, when he passed away, he's like, are you sad? Do you want to do something that reminds you of him? I'm like, every breath I take is him. Every mannerism that I happen to get or talk or, so he's definitely living through me. But
even your profession, that's him, right? Like, as you said, you wouldn't have been here without him. And the fact that you're able to, again, like your life and what you do is a tribute to him every single day.
Yeah, no. And it's amazing. Now when I go on stage, I can literally feel him there, it's really cool. Like it's so strange. It's just, I can feel it, So I talk to him all the time, like, hey, if you can help me, so I don't drop anything right now.
No, Mike, that's amazing. I didn't even know that part of your story, and that's so amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
All good.
So you start the juggling journey, if you will, through high school, through grade school. You're doing your thing. Is it one of these things everyone knew? Like I'm assuming growing up, everyone just knew that juggling was you.
My family really supported it, and then I don't tell a lot of people this, but so at 10 years old, you can't get any work as a juggler.
Okay, yeah.
So then my grandpa's like, well, if you're a clown, you could probably get work because we could bill you as a clown, So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I could barely speak because I was super shy. So my grandpa's like, I'll do the talking, you do the juggling. So we put a show on together from when I was 9, 10 years old to about 16. And then I was like, at that age where I felt like a dork being a clown and whatever.
Right.
But then I was doing so many shows in Wisconsin that when Mike Price came to be the juggler, nobody wanted the juggler. They all wanted the guy that they all knew could juggle, Sparkplug, So then I did that for years with my until I was like 16, 17.
Wow.
And then finally just had to put the stop on it and just says, hey, I'll do this, but I'm no longer performing.
Right. I'm Mike
Price. And then at that time, I started talking more, and then my grandpa slowly got out of the act. I did a full show, and then he would still cart me around and all the shows, and
Well, and that's the part about your show. And again, as someone who was part of your show and watched you, the aspect that what makes you so good at what you do is you truly entertain. It's not you're not just there throwing juggling up and like you make entertain. You incorporate people. Yeah. You run with it. You you improvise on the spot when things don't go the way they're supposed to. And
it's weird. You can't just juggle. It's very strange because I love juggling, but even I would get bored with it.
Yeah.
There's something you gotta do something, sell it,
Right.
Car salesman kind of thing.
Right. No, and that's what you do. You do a great job of that.
Thank you. It was actually I was gonna keep on going with the story, but after when I was turned 18 years old, between 17 and 18, the thing that really changed my life, like I grew up watching jugglers on film and, like almost like a classic juggler or like Vegas style. I remember having sequins down the side of my pants and all this stuff, and suspenders to keep my shirt in while I did these tricks. But it was like dorky, I guess, if you will, and then I remember doing this rock concert that they booked me for.
Yes.
And it went over the biggest thing ever. One of the biggest shows I've ever have done. And then the next year, the guy's like, hey, we're gonna book you back, but do you mind if we call you the Rockstar Juggler? Because you're gonna go on with a band and it describes kind of like what you're doing. And I'm like, I'll go by the Rockstar Juggler, And then I was like with this chick at the time, and I'm like, I can't look like I'm going as the Rockstar Juggler, and I look like some dorky dude, And all of a sudden, I was listening to a lot of the Doors back then, and Jim Morrison. So I'm like looking at all these old school rock bands. I'm like, all right, I got to give me a pair of leather pants and some shit. And and then it was just, the rest was history. It was like the Rockstar Juggler was my thing. And then if I ever told somebody, hey, Mike Price, they could never, what was your name? I'm like, Rockstar Juggler, remember that? Oh, all right, I got that.
Well, that just takes it to a whole other level. And almost what it did when you add that Rockstar Juggler moniker, it almost took you just, like you said, to a whole other level. Right?
Yeah, it was really cool. And then I toured for years with a band and was part of a band. and then they would let the juggling patterns kind of dictate where the music was going.
Yes,
It was
yes.
really cool. I mean, I did that for years, and then I got really into electronic music
Yes.
because of the fact it's like a metronome.
Right.
So juggling, I could always like improvise and get back to it right away. Because again, it was very musical to me, right?
Yeah.
And then I moved to Spain, like the techno capital, I guess, electronic Ibiza.
Yep.
And then lived there for a couple years doing DJs, and then moved back to the States, and then did cruises, and I mean, it's just all over the place.
And again, just off of juggling.
Off of juggling. How
Amazing.
strange.
So have you ever had a 9-to-5 job, or you always just juggle?
I never did a normal job in my life. It's strange.
This is normal.
I shouldn't say that, because in high school, all my friends worked at the same car wash.
Okay.
I almost felt left out. So I'm like, my buddy that was manager, I'm like, hey, get me a job at the car wash so we can all hang out. And he's like, man, you're never going to work here, And I'm like, Brad, you got to get me. And he's like, I'm not getting you the jacket. If we get you a jacket and you quit, Right. And it's in Wisconsin. So I go there and I'm like, first day, I'm like, what do you guys do for the cold for your hands, And they're like, you man up. And I'm like, you guys don't get breaks for your hands or anything? And they're like, no. And I'm like, I left a pair of gloves in my car. I'll be right back, So I did have a job. Okay. I lasted 2 hours.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So it didn't quite make it to the 9-to-5, but there was.
No.
Okay, no. Fair enough. That's okay though. I think you've done okay, Mike. I think you've done okay.
Yeah, right.
Tell me about the America's Got Talent experience. Where were you kind of in your career at that point, and how did that sort of feed into you? What did you?
It was good and bad. Like I don't know if going any further than I would have done. I don't know if it would have benefited or hurt the career, because once you go, I made it to the semifinals, so I made it to I think the last 40 people left.
Yeah.
But if you make it further than that, then they start taking cuts of your paycheck.
Okay.
But because it's so like, it's not a normal, like agents are 10 nowadays, maybe 15 if you got a kind of bad agent, 20%.
Okay.
But they take over 50%,
Wow.
So, and then if you're getting the gigs, the top gigs for entertainers or cruises, and Vegas is an illusion, by the way, for everybody out there. Like, Vegas is pay to play these days.
Okay.
Like, you're literally paying these venues so you can perform. So you got a lot of kids, if you're famous, you're truly famous, they'll pay you.
Sure.
But otherwise, it's to have your name up in the
right.
in the lights, and so realistically, if I've been working cruises for 20 years.
Right.
Then you go back to cruises, and then they would have taken more of my.
Right.
I would have lost money if I would have went any further in that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's actually really fascinating, right? You think you go there with the chance of, go to the next level, and it would actually brought you back. But that's because you had that experience before. That's really what the difference is.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'd imagine that most people on the show just didn't.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah. And then there's a whole, it wasn't the best experience of my life. Okay. And it was funny. It's like, I believe it's some of the worst I've ever done, actually. And then it just so happens to be filmed in front of the most people I've ever juggled in front of, So it wasn't the best experience of my life. And then I don't even know how much of it you can talk about of the behind the scenes, because they make you sign.
Oh, okay. Yeah. An NDA or something.
Contracts. I'm not even making up, 450 pages long.
Yeah.
Every page has to be initialed, and then go on to the next level. Another, and it's like, if you slander their show, you can get
right. I'm just
this, and I mean, it's crazy. It's really, really. Again, I don't know if I would do it again.
Understood.
But then again, I'm not really a fan of television and that.
Got you. Okay, so and by the way, if you say something on this podcast, don't worry about it. Only 3 people watch it, including my mom, right? So
yeah, it's all good. I'm an open book anyway. I'm pretty much, I say how it is, so.
But okay, so let's move past that, because you still got a flourishing career here. You sort of just get back in the cruise scene, and that's kind of what you knew, right? Is that what you?
Yeah, well, actually, it's crazy. So then COVID hit,
right,
and then it was like 2 years of being off, and I didn't even think I was going to I was really making plans of exiting,
right,
and
doing what?
Retiring. Man, I mean, I was into all kinds of stuff, like Airbnbs.
Okay.
I mean, just little side hustles. But,
okay, gotcha.
I'm not worried, I'm just like, I always tell like my mom or anybody, like, I'm not gonna die. We're all good. I will figure out life,
Right.
But yeah, it was the universe calling and then saying, hey, we're not gonna let you stop this. So then where you saw me in St. Martin, a casino called me.
Yeah.
And then they called me, and the very first time they called, I was like, actually, I think I'm done, And they're like, well, what do you mean you're done? I'm like, I think I'm like going to retire from this thing. And then they called back maybe like a month later, and they're like, are you sure? Like, this is the gig that you've been kind of like wanting, and being in one location, not having to travel all the time.
Yeah.
And then I was sure. So I said, nope, I'm good, And then they called back a third time and was like, I don't understand why you're, And then my wife kind of nudged me. She's like, why are you quitting? I'm like, it was a weird experience. The whole COVID thing was just
right. And so you was there like a calling somewhere else, or?
No, it was calling from the casino. So I had the opportunity not to go back on cruises.
Okay.
And I mean, it was just, I did 20 years on a cruise.
Sure.
Like, I mean, on different.
Yeah.
But it's just, I loved it. Loved cruising. There's nothing better than I absolutely loved it. But 20 years, I'm like, I've been just about every port you could get to in the world.
Right.
Just done it.
Right.
So, I wanted to chill and be in the same place, the same location, the same everything. And it's hilarious because everybody wants to travel. But I'm like, man, I mean, if you paid for my vacation right now to go to my favorite country in the world, Spain, I would have to think about it.
Right. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
That's so wild. But you changed your mind, and you went back to your first love.
Yep, went back and started creating again. And see, a lot of times what happens is on a cruise ship,
right?
They're called fly-on acts. So you have to fly on, be able to do the rehearsal with the sound guy, the light guy, within an hour, and put on a show. Well, then you're not necessarily producing a bigger show, and then you get kind of like, well, what can I fly with? What can I do the show, get in and out, do the best, but you're not really taking the time to create, which is all the things I loved, like writing new bits and like creating things.
Yes.
I was like, I mean, after on cruises, probably the last 5 years, there was no point to create things because the money you're not necessarily gonna get, and it's not all for money. I don't do things just for that, but it's like, do I want to lug 3 more pieces of luggage with me to be able to put on the 5-minute bit?
Yes, right.
I mean, you can, and I can work on 5 minutes. I mean, for 2 years.
Sure.
You work for 2 years for
right.
5 minutes, and then I have to pay for 3 more pieces of luggage to come, and nobody, you're lost in this like corporate world.
That's right.
where it doesn't matter. And then I think that's what kind of at the end was like, well, I'm not creating. I'm not doing anything new. I'm just doing the same show.
Right.
So,
And
I love it. But now I
the
love
thing-
it. I can create and
yeah,
do these things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so the creation aspect, which again, your shows are quite creative, and you can tell it's all you in every aspect of that. How important is that to kind of keep yourself fresh and always be in creation?
I mean, it just keeps things new and fresh, and you can deliver a line and people can tell it's new. You know, you can't say a line and then everybody looks and says, oh, it's theater. You know, you almost have to
Right.
to make it look like it's your first time doing it. That's the key. And then, but if you say the same joke 700 times,
Right.
how do you deliver it like you've never said it before?
Yes.
But then if you add something new to the show, well, now it's, even if it's just that 5 minutes, it's something new. And again, I'm getting older, but just so long I can keep on creating things that nobody else is doing, I feel like, oh, I should be here because I'm, I have something to offer. But if I was just stagnant and only doing tricks that other people have done,
Right.
or, at least that's why I'm still here, is because I feel like I can bring something to the table still.
So Mike, you make it look so incredibly easy with all you've done, but adversity is a part of life, and we're all going to run into that. What kind of adversity did you have to go up against?
I mean, there's lots of stuff. We all have things in our life, right, that are hard for us. So I guess for me, it's like my father went to prison when I was like probably in fourth grade.
Wow.
And everybody made a big deal about that. And it's like you could let this get you down. Sure. And you can think about it, or you could look at it like more of like a stoic view, like what makes you into a man, or what makes you, these adversities that you have to overcome are some of the things that make us who we are. So I look at those things almost like a video game. Gotcha. Like this is something that it's in my way. I bet I can get around this. I bet you I can make, something with this. So a lot of times people think, like, hey, I would be in the same position as that guy was in if I had $1 million, or I would be in the same position if that guy gave me the helping hand, But if you think like that, you could spend your whole life waiting for somebody to help you, But you got to take care of yourself and take what you want. And
it's so easy to do, as you said. In fact, you can say, well, hey, I didn't have my father, and people will, oh, poor you, and that's it, right? And you can
exactly
life goes on, but that and then life goes on, and that becomes your narrative. That becomes a story to tell your life, right?
Exactly.
As opposed to, okay, my father went to prison. He wasn't there for my upbringing. What the heck did I do? Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And the story now becomes a different story, but you've got to do that.
Well, as I said, it's just I don't know, and then you can use it. And imagine if you made something out of that adversity, it's empowering.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It really is empowering. It's like, I did this.
Yes.
Like I made it through this thing. Yes. And then again, it's like, as we get older, I think that's what makes us,
And again, the story, what it does, the narrative of the story changes vastly. But Mike, the piece I love about this when we get past adversity is how we can encourage and motivate other people, right? Yeah. So now your story of not having a father, grew up without him, made a life for myself. That kid that's coming up behind you, right, who could have maybe a similar situation, can look to you and go, oh wait, I did it.
Yep.
Why can't I?
Yeah. There was
not that Mike's, Mike's a good guy.
That's just it, though, for real, And I advise everybody look into stoicism out there. It's amazing read, and it helps shape who we are, and you start looking at life and through different eyes, really, instead of just going, look what's happening to me. You can be like, look at it, like I said, a video game. Like,
Gotcha.
all right, if this is in front of me, this is my obstacle. How am I going to do this? And then the more empowered you feel, again, you take care of yourself, and if you take care of yourself, and you get this in order, then you can start helping other people, and then it's a snowball, but it's all fixing you first. It's like when you're in an airplane and they say put on your face mask first. You gotta fix yourself in order to help other people, and then it's amazing.
That's where the magic happens.
It is where the magic happens.
Hey, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about your championship juggling trophy there. Did they give you like a championship belt, or what did they give? Like
I guess the way to describe it is like basically everybody watches ice skating in the Olympics, right?
Sure.
So if you fall, that would be like dropping.
Yes.
You get your routine, you go out there, and there's all ex-jugglers that are judges that are thing. And I remember when we were 16, my grandpa, again, guy that got me into it, he's like, hey, there's a juggling world championships. You want to go to it? And I'm like, yeah, that'd be awesome. So we drive out to either Fargo or Rapid City, one of these places. And I remember sitting there and we're watching these guys juggle, and my grandpa looks at me, he's like, if you practice a little bit harder, you're almost doing what these guys are doing. And I'm like, I didn't realize it, because I was just in the gym, me and him. And then I'm like, damn, I bet you if I practice harder, I really could do this stuff. So we literally went in the gym, hit it. Next year went, I competed in the junior competition, got second place, and then worked even harder, and then came back the next year and won the gold medal, the individuals. So amazing. And again, it was like my grandpa winning the thing. He was so proud and like amazing,
Very, very cool.
Yeah, really cool.
Mike, you're a rock star juggler. What the heck?
Thank you.
It's almost as if you have I'd love to hear your thoughts. It's almost like an alter ego. Like, I mean, you're super chill to talk to and hang out, and then you get up there and it's like, phew, and you become Is that what it is?
It is that. And actually it's weird. It's why I wear the costume. I call it costume, or the clothes I wear.
Yeah.
Because when I put on that outfit, I literally do change to the Rockstar Juggler, and like right now, I like even thinking like I have a show tomorrow night, right? Okay. And I'm like, if I think about it as me, I'm like, oh shit, this is really hard. Like I hope I and all these things start racing in my head.
Right.
But then I put on the clothes, and it's like you kind of have to be weirdly arrogant about it. Like, I got this. Like, there's no way I'm dropping. And then that helps with the whole attitude. Like, all right, I'm getting my brain in that space where I can perform.
So is a rock star juggler like the most confident person you know then?
Yeah, for sure. Way more confident than me, like he's talking and like, I don't know. It's funny. And then when people heckle, it's very strange. Have you heard of binaural beats?
No.
All right. So your brain, with all the things that are happening, so most of them are firing off at like one time. So your brain is literally doing this, boom, boom, right?
Yeah.
So you have beta, theta, alpha waves, right?
Yeah.
So when you're sleeping, you can. So binaural beats is you take headphones and you put them in your head or in your ear. You put them in your other ear.
Yeah.
And there's this one's beating at let's say 17 of these a minute, right? And this one over here is doing 15.
Okay.
So your brain can't figure it out that there's like little things. So they put it together, and your brain starts registering that in the middle of the 17 and the 15 at 16. Okay. So like for meditation, you can listen to these things and it will bring your brain to where it's supposed to be firing, right?
Okay.
But when you're on stage, there's a certain place that you can be where your brain is firing off so fast
Yes.
that you can't even get there through meditation or these binaural beats. You have to actually actively be performing or
in that mode, right?
yeah. So it's funny. So you'll get a heckler.
Yeah.
Like let's say there's a comedian that's sitting in the audience and there's a comedian on stage.
Yes.
Right. And this guy's like, I'm going to heckle this comedian.
Right.
Well, this guy's brain in his natural state is firing off so low that even if he's funny, the guy on stage, in order to get there, his brain is firing off like
he's somewhere else. Yeah.
5 times faster than the other guy.
Right.
So the other guy doesn't even have a chance at heckling.
Right.
His brain is literally not working as fast as the guy on stage.
Right.
It's amazing.
That's
but
awesome.
there's all the where I was going with that is with the binaural beats, you can get into certain frequencies, but you cannot get unnaturally, I guess, to that one space, or I forget it's called maybe theta waves or alpha waves, but there's one that you
it's a special place like that. Not too many people go to.
Yep. It's when you're in the zone, they call it.
Yes. Wow. And again, special place to be. It's again, you call it the zone. That's where you're at, and then you at a level. Just it's almost. I'd imagine it's almost like unconscious. Like you're not thinking about it. You just go.
Yeah, it is unconscious. In fact, so when I juggle too, if I think about it, I will drop.
Oh wow.
Like almost instantly.
Right.
So so there's this weird space again. So I have to be arrogant and know that I can do this, but at the same time, I can't think about it. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like this weird. It's so strange. You just have to know.
Right.
Don't think too much on it. No, but don't think. Yeah.
Do you ever, I mean, you've been in the 20 plus or more 30 years juggling, do you ever get butterflies or get nervous or does that enter at all?
Only when like if the guy that hired me would be there and he's telling me, hey, I'm gonna watch your show tonight. I'm like the one person, it's just in my head that he's judging me
right
versus watching the show,
right.
So that kind of trips me out a little bit. But otherwise, as far as like audiences, I shouldn't say I'm not like nervous at all, but there's like a good energy, like you're excited, you're ready to get out there and perform.
Do you I'm assuming at one time you felt them. Do you kind of remember when that stopped or
yeah, like I said, it's always there. It's just it's not anxiety. Like I'm not worried about it.
Gotcha.
Like you know that like even tonight, I know I have a show tomorrow.
Right.
But I start getting in where I have to be the day before.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah. So I have to be very like the things I eat and the things I do 24 hours before I perform. So that's why it's funny. A lot of people are like, well, you just have to do that one show. I'm like, yeah, it's not like that. I start like anytime you book a 1 hour show for me, you're booking 48 hours of like, I have to live like this. I have to go to bed at this time. I have to eat this at this time, to get the energy or so my muscles don't cramp and my brain is focused,
And it makes sense having this podcast conversation too, right? With them, right? To get you focused.
Yeah, exactly. This is the earliest I've ever been up, by the way. So
you did say that before. I appreciate you for that.
Yeah, I'm very nocturnal. I go to bed 7 a.m, wake up like noon or 1.
Again, you're a rock star. I don't see it any other way. I mean, come on, right?
Right on.
Man, so and again, Mike, this is awesome chat, and really appreciate take the time like this. And I guess for me, when I think of sort of your journey and your story and the takeaways, I think for me it's really the idea of living out your passion and sticking with it. Even when in your case you wanted to quit and leave, you came back to it. It's still as strong as ever. And I think my message to our listeners will be very much to take that time and figure what you're passionate about and stick to it. Any thoughts you'd have for someone who's trying to figure out their passion? Would you?
I mean, in general, it's do what you love. If you have hobbies, I mean, that's how I did it. I mean, if I can make a living juggling, I still at 40 years old, I still find that even fascinating myself. I'm like, man, I'm like, if you just follow what you enjoy and do, and I'm very fortunate. I think that I like, again, I haven't worked because I've done what I love, and I just follow your dreams, and if I can make a living throwing something in the air and catching it, I'm positive the people out there, can do what they want. But
they're like sharp blades, things that are on fire. I don't do anything that's alive. You throw out.
Passion is it. It's just everybody's like, well, I'm not talented, I don't do this. But it's like, well, if you had the passion to not give up, I don't think you could practice piano for 20 years and not be good. I don't believe that. I'm sure there's some people that it comes more easily.
Sure.
But if you have the passion, what if one guy just practices an hour a day because it comes easy and he doesn't have the passion, and one guy's not as good, but he has the passion to practice 20 hours a day?
Yes.
I bet you in 5 years, the guy with the passion is, what I'm saying?
No, makes sense.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense. And again, the idea of never having to feel like you're working or anything, all that's all part of it.
Yeah.
I know you had sort of tons of support. Did you have any naysayers that said, "What are you doing"?
All the teachers and everything in school. It was really, yep. I mean, I even had I remember everybody telling me, why aren't you in drama class? The guy is really cool. I'm like, I mean, I like going on stage. I don't necessarily just want to do that stuff. I want to do my thing.
Right.
And but you should join his class, and he's really cool and he's really supportive. So I remember it was like sophomore year. I'm like, all right, get in this guy's class. And he's like, Mr. Price, can we talk to you after school today? I'm like, awesome. He probably wants to like talk to me, whatever. And he's like, Juggler, right? I'm like, yep. And he's like, I want you to know that there comes a time where you have to know that you really can't be doing this your whole life, And I was like, is that a bet?
I love it.
All in. All in. Yeah.
I love it.
It was funny because of that, everybody's like, what makes you practice? Because I'm like, because I went so all in that I didn't do anything else. I'm like, I better be good at this because this is what I'm doing.
Love it. I love
but
it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So I was a lot because I was very rebellious actually as a kid.
Sure.
But like I used it and like I will prove you wrong 100%,
Yeah, I think you might have. I don't know.
Well,
you're pretty close.
Pretty sweet.
So for listeners that want to learn more about you, or maybe even catch a live show, or where you might be, where can we send them, Mike?
Well, I'm very bad at social media. I have Rockstar Juggler at my Instagram.
There you go.
That's like the one social media. It's very strange. I'm all my friends ask me how I get work. They're like, you don't have a website? I have a website, but I just I grew up in I was born in 79. So we just didn't take pictures of ourselves.
Right.
And I grew up and we didn't do these things. And then I like performing on stage. There's a very, I like live performance. I don't like TV. I don't like the taking the pictures and the whole upkeep on the thing. And just as long as I keep on getting work, I'm going to keep on doing it. But Rockstar Juggler on Instagram is probably the way to find me. That's
the best way. Well, you know what? I would encourage listeners to tap in and keep an eye on you. I know you get some help behind the scenes, up your social media game. So
Well, my wife is trying to help me on this. She is
fun.
trying to help me. We're like, you know what? Everybody tells me I'm literally the daily basis. You should be on YouTube. You should be on this. I'm like, I get it. But I'm like, I always tell my friends, aren't you glad you have a friend that doesn't do that stuff? I'm not on my phone like constantly, not taking. I'm like, I could be that guy, but now they're paying enough money in social, these things nowadays. I feel like everybody's going to be an influencer soon.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, again, you can always, when you're performing, you can tell your audience to take out their phones and do your work for you. I'm sure.
I know. This is what you did. I'm actually using some of your stuff for real. Yeah,
I'm glad. That's awesome.
Amazing.
Well, listen, Mike. I'm really, really happy that you took the time like this and chatted and really shared some of your story and how you got to where you got to, and the back stuff is always important. And again, the whole idea of living out your passion the right way is kind of what you've done, right? You hear people talk about the things that you should do. You've done it, and
and you just got to do it.
That's it.
It's literally a trust fall to the universe, It's that. Even when I moved to Spain, it was like my mom and was a little worried. She completely supports everything, but even she was like, "Well, what are you gonna do over there?" And I would go, "I'm not gonna die. Don't worry." I'm like, somehow this will all, and it's just a big trust fall for real.
I love it. Well, I love it, and that's the way it is. And I hope our listeners, that's what they take away from this and understand. You just gotta go out and just do it. We're gonna steal from Nike here.
Do it, man.
Do it, man. Awesome. Yep. Mike, man, thanks for this. This is great, man. Good to see you.
Anytime. Hit me up whenever. I'll come and do an update a year, and we'll see where we're at, right?
Yeah, there you go. Or we'll know because your social media will tell us, right?
That's perfect. My wife will get on that hopefully for me.
Good. Appreciate you, Mike. Thanks, man.
Yep, definitely, brother.
Back we are here on the podcast, and much thanks and appreciation goes out to Mike for being here. Wasn't he awesome? Like I said, great guy, had tons of fun with him. And man, Mike, I appreciate you so much for sharing your passion with us like the way you did, filling us in how you got started. And I really appreciate you sharing the story of your grandfather. So again, thank you, my friend, and for doing this. And we will see you very, very soon. I truly appreciated, so much of what Mike had to share with us today. But, if I stop and think about the one thing that I would take from our chat, it would have to be this. Passions are what spark and ignite our souls, setting us on fire with excitement, purpose, and fulfillment. When we wholeheartedly embrace passions, we unlock a multitude of benefits that can positively impact various aspects of our lives. It's crucial to recognize that pursuing what we love not only brings personal joy and satisfaction to ourselves, but it also empowers us to contribute meaningfully to society as a whole. So here are 3 wonderful advantages that abound when we follow our passions. When we do what we love, a profound sense of fulfillment permeates our lives. Engaging in activities that resonate with our passions enable us to experience a great joy. Our contentment raises, as well as we're much happier. By dedicating ourselves to something that we genuinely care about, the other thing that we do is unlock a deep sense of purpose that no external rewards or conformity can ever replicate. And it's such a powerful feeling. Immersing ourselves in our passions often leads to heightened creativity and innovation. We become much more inclined to think outside of the box, exploring new possibilities that we never thought of, and taking time to develop unique and brand new ideas. And then lastly, when we wholeheartedly pursue our passions, we become beacons of inspirations for others. Our dedication, drive, and ability to make a positive impact can motivate others to follow their own passions. By sharing our experiences and expertise, we uplift and naturally empower those around us, contributing to the growth and development of a vibrant society. The decision to follow our passion is not only beneficial for us as individuals, but also for the world around us. Embracing what truly brings us joy and fulfillment allows us to lead lives that are purposeful, creative, and resilient. By pursuing our passions, we not only experience personal growth, but also inspire positivity and impact those around us. So let us wholeheartedly embrace the things that we love, embrace our passion, and unlock the immense benefits awaiting on us on our exhilarating journey of audacious self-discovery. We've sadly reached the end of another episode of the most audacious podcast the internet has to offer. And as always, I say thank you and extend my appreciation to all those lovers of audaciousness. I appreciate you for being here and helping continue to move this podcast forward. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stevenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.